everybody. Welcome to the Weird World Podcast. This evening, we are going to bring to you our second episode of Weird News. Is that what we called it?
Sure, why not? We called it Weird News, not knowing it'd be Weird News 1, but got a good reaction, so now we bring you Weird News 2. I think that's what we called it. I don't know.
I don't remember either. Dang it. Okay. Dean.
You sound pretty broken up.
I am. Why don't you start us off with the first story?
Oh, okay. I will.
What are you doing over there?
I'm trying to find my notes. So, have you heard of...
We called it the World of Weird News.
Oh, well, that was dumb. Let's just call it Weird News from now on, all right?
Whatever, man.
What is the largest human-made reservoir in the United States of America?
That is not information that anybody needs to know on the top of their head. Off the top of their head.
I feel like it is. I feel like you're hating on information.
Did you know what it was until you read this weird news article? Okay, then.
It is Lake Mead, which is formed by the Hoover Dam in Nevada, out here in the Southwest, or in the Southwest. We no longer live in the Southwest, technically. Okay. Well, we used to. The Lake Mead has been doing what lots of other lakes throughout the country have been doing, particularly out in the western United States, where there's been years and years of almost all drought years, and it has been shrinking precipitously every year, really since about 2000 or so, almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
Of pretty steady decreasing.
It's a problem.
It is a huge problem. It's an incredibly important reservoir. It services 30 to 40 million people, hugely important to agriculture in the area. The Colorado River is what feeds it, and the Colorado River is drying up because it's being, because of drought and because that area of the country is booming with more people all the time in Phoenix and Southern California and Las Vegas. So every time you go to Vegas, just remember that you're killing nature.
Wow.
Okay, I'm overstating that a little bit. What's happening, though, because of the recession of the water, has been finding things there.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. For instance, they found years ago, a Pueblo Indian site was found a long time ago. And also a ghost town that was settled by Mormons is also found. In fact, there's now a tourist destination.
Wait, inside Lake Mead?
Along the edge of Lake Mead.
Oh.
Covered up by Lake Mead when it was created. Remember, when you build a dam,
yes,
it covers things up.
Correct.
And now that it's receding, it's uncovering some things. But more recently, things that have been being uncovered, great sentence, by the way, have been bodies.
Oh.
Human remains.
Nice.
4 sets of human remains have been found just since May 1 of this year, 2022.
What do you mean by sets? Like people?
4 bodies.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they're badly decomposed and skeletal in one situation. Or, as they say in Britain, as we found out, skeletal. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The most recent one was found in, I believe, early August. It looked to be decades old. But the first one, May 1st, was a person that was found inside of a barrel. Uh-oh. And how do you think that body died?
Well, probably not going over at some falls in a barrel.
Nope. Gonna say gunshot wound. In fact, that was almost certainly a mob hit.
Wow. Why'd they bother putting him in a barrel?
You always did that because it didn't come up. It sank. It stayed on the bottom.
I thought that's what the purpose of concrete shoes was.
That too. The barrel's a good, there's multiple methods of
I
disposing of the
suppose.
body. They think this person died in the 70s or 80s, judging by his clothes. So I'm assuming, I don't know, wide collar, I don't know, members only jacket. I'm not completely sure what that means, but they date the demise of that person given his clothes.
Huh.
And then on May 7th, a week later, remains were found in another barrel discovered along the shoreline. On July 6th, they found another body along a place called Boulder Islands. That they did identify. It turned pretty quickly. It turned out to be the body of a woman who had gone missing after she fell off a jet ski back just on June 30th. So that person had been in the water just a week.
Wow.
That really wasn't. But I guess it was. I don't know if that had strictly to do with the water receding or not. They just found the body, but still. So someone went missing from a jet ski accident. They found her a week later on July 6th. And on July 25th, they found the remains of a body at a part of the lake called Swim Beach. So the early August person in the barrel was the 4th body discovered just in a few months. Lake Mead has lost about 170 feet to its depth just since 1983. It's about 1/4 of its capacity to hold water. So it's just the drought has been absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
So they talked to, I guess, some local station there, talked to a mob expert, like some guy who's a historian, and he has a thing called the Mob Museum. His name is Jeff Schumacher. Actually, he's the vice president of the Mob Museum. Does it have a president and a secretary of state? I have no idea. He said that the mob actually didn't bury a lot of people in barrels, or at least, I'm sorry, I take that back. They would, the barrel thing to him sounded like a mob thing, but he said they didn't put people in the lake. They didn't like to dispose of bodies nearby because they might be found and traced to them, which doesn't make sense. I'm pretty sure they weren't driving them to LA and dumping the body in the desert outside of. So I don't know. He is the vice president of the Mob Museum in Las Vegas. So let's assume he knows what he's talking about. But the barrel person with gunshot wound, even he said, yeah, that sounds pretty mobby. Back in May, when they found the first body, it was found by paddleboarders.
Oh.
Can you imagine? You're looking down along the newly lower coastline there, and you see what they thought at first, there was the body of a big orange sheep. And then they got a little closer. I know. I'm not sure how that works.
Huh. And
then they got a little closer, and they saw the jawbone, and they realized that's a human jawbone, and they saw a silver filling in the tooth. So the guy who found it, one of the paddleboarders, said, it wasn't until I saw the jawbone with the silver filling that I was like, whoa, this is human, and it started to freak out. I don't blame him. That would be pretty freaky, but you think, do bighorn sheep get dental work done? They probably
no. Yeah, that was a dead giveaway, I'd say.
Yeah. So experts are looking forward to what might be found next as the lake continues to recede. As I mentioned, they've had some ghost towns found a while ago. But in 1948, an Air Force pilot was flying around in a B-29 Superfortress doing atmospheric research and crashed somewhere in the northern part of Lake Mead. So we might be finding a World War II era plane in the not too distant future.
Interesting.
We'll see. So most recently, one of the bodies that was discovered in the lake was finally identified. That was one of the bodies found about 3 months ago, and they identified it as Thomas Erndt. It's not the body in the barrel. He died by drowning about 20 years ago. So he disappeared in, I think it was August 2nd, 2002, right about 20 years ago. He's a 42-year-old man from Las Vegas, just, doing something, recreating in the lake, and was reported missing. And even at the time, people thought he drowned. Now, they don't know for a fact. They can't do the body's badly decomposed, but they're pretty sure he drowned. They have identified him through DNA that it was Thomas Erndt is one of the bodies. So one of the bodies most recently has been figured out. I doubt they ever figured out who was the guy in the barrel.
Why? Couldn't they do his through DNA as well?
They could. They said that they're still running the DNA. The Las Vegas, I think it's Clark County, actually, the county coroner's in charge of this. They are running the DNA. They're using x-rays and fingerprinting and forensic dentistry to try to find out who these other bodies were. But so far, that's the only one that has been identified.
Huh.
So that's the story of the bodies in the lake.
Well,
one of the byproducts of receding waters across the Southwest. It turns out, though, that's not the only thing that's happening with respect to water getting lower and lower. Is it, Carrie?
No, it's not. I was just going to say, great minds think alike. Well, speaking of World War II era things being discovered.
I don't think we were speaking about World War II era thing. Oh, the boat. The plane. Yeah. My bad. Yeah. That was only seconds ago. And
you were literally speaking.
That's an issue.
Due to receding waters because of drought conditions. as it so happens, dozens of Nazi warships have appeared in the Danube River.
The Danube River?
Yes.
Nazi warships?
Nazi warships.
Really?
With
They're
like
going up and down the river?
With like munitions and stuff. It's danger time.
Well, it's danger time.
Yeah.
Carrie.
It's dangerous.
It sounds like a Cartoon Network television show, but that's good.
And in Spain, this isn't World War II stuff, there's something called Spanish Stonehenge.
Really?
That has been uncovered. It was, I think it was one that was purposely, flooded with a dam.
Okay.
But now the waters have gone away partially. And so people are happy about that one because they want to study that. And in China's Yangtze River, they have discovered 3 Buddhist statues have been uncovered. And then, of course, if you weren't doing like me, my next sentence would have been, and horrifically, human bodies have been found in Nevada's Lake Mead.
Well, good thing I did it because you are not doing terrible downer stories anymore.
I am not. My story is about a severe drought. Not a happy thing. Severe drought in Texas.
Oh.
Has revealed 113 million year old dinosaur tracks.
That's impossible since the Earth is only 6,000 years old, so I'm confused.
Well, we're not going to get into that, Mr. Bible Man.
Agree to disagree, but fine.
But in all places, Dinosaur Valley State Park.
Makes actually perfect sense.
It does.
You think it's just a weird coincidence?
No.
Okay.
This is where dinosaurs roamed the earth. The prints were normally covered by the Paluxy River. And I guess
I like that name.
They have been visible before, and the last time was 22 years ago, the year 2000. But this river has dried up completely in most locations. So now more and more tracks are being uncovered in the park. And I guess normally when there's water, they would, the tracks would fill with sediment and stuff and not be visible. But most of the tracks that have been uncovered belong to Acrocanthosaurus.
I feel like you made that up right now as we spoke. Acrocanthosaurus. What does that mean?
It's the name of a dinosaur.
It's
a carnivorous.
It's like Bigfoot lizard.
I don't know what it means.
Okay.
But it's carnivorous. It lived 115 to 105 million years ago in the early Cretaceous period. Okay. These dinosaurs walked on 2 legs, and they had 3 toes with claws on each foot.
How tall? How big? Velociraptor-ish?
Up to 15 feet tall. And weighing up to 7 tons.
We forget how, or we just don't, you think we see T-Rex and they're, look like a small building and everything. You forget, can you imagine a 15-foot carnivorous giant lizard thing? It's terrifying. Really glad that we only coexisted with dinosaurs for the first couple thousand of the 6,000 year lifespan of Earth. I mean, I'm glad they're still not around.
Yeah.
6,000 years later from when they first were born.
Okay. Enough. The recently revealed tracks are called the Lone Ranger Trackway.
Okay.
And there's about 140 tracks from one individual dinosaur. I'm not really sure how they know this. I guess it's maybe
like specifically
contiguous.
A single dinosaur.
That's what they say.
Must be, right? It must be a trail. He's walking, maybe a she, walking through mud.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess some of them were already visible. And now 60 have been uncovered, I guess.
What have they found anything at the Tonto Trail?
No.
That must be nearby the Lone Ranger Trail. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that, again, Native Americans being just written out of history? Okay, thanks, Texas.
They have found other tracks left by a 60-foot tall dinosaur who weighed about 44 tons.
Man.
This is slightly larger, or a lot larger, called Sauroposeidon.
I like
That's
that.
a good one. But a paleontologist said that these footprints are spectacular because they're deep. And you can see the toenails. And there's more than one kind, and there's a lot of them.
Wow.
It does sound pretty exciting.
Does sound.
All of these dinosaurs' tracks that have been preserved, they're in limestone, which I guess is what helps them become preserved. But also, I guess, they could eventually erode away, especially now that they're uncovered, I think. Right?
Eventually. Take some good pictures, make some plaster cast. What the hell? I, in fact, dig the whole thing up and put it in a museum.
They actually think that there are more tracks, obviously, that are still buried and like even deeper and stuff. And eventually they may be uncovered after.
So you're rooting for continued drought?
No, I'm not.
Sounds like it.
But, these paleontologists are pretty excited about the prospect.
They are, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. They're doing anti-rain dancing as we speak.
And I suppose these two particular types of dinosaurs, they don't have a whole lot of other evidence of their existence, like bones and stuff like that. So these tracks are very helpful for scientists to get more information about them. And I guess tracks are very helpful because it gives them information about posture and speed that you really don't get from a skeleton.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Tracks are really, really critical. They're deep, right? If they're longer and deeper, they're running or something like that. So you can get a sense of their gait and speed. I've read that too. They can estimate how fast they're running when they made those tracks, which is pretty cool.
I know. It's
math.
I know. Is it? I mean,
sure,
I don't.
It is math.
But see, here's the thing. Yeah. But aren't some of the variables like the weight of the animal and
I don't know.
So how do they know? It's
I trust science, Gary. I don't question
I question everything. That is science.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, you pretty much put me in my place. I'm smelling toast right now because I was just burnt. Wait, I don't know.
They do expect all of these tracks to once again be covered by water.
Oh.
So they are optimistic, even though the Western United States is currently experiencing the worst drought in 1,200 years. Is it really 1,200 years?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Holy smokes. And
you just told me that, so I think.
I know. That's what I'm reading in the SmithsonianMag.com. But they say that obviously, as we all know, these droughts are being exacerbated by climate change. And they do touch on the irony of the fact that dinosaurs were wiped out by very rapid climate change. And now we're gaining evidence and information about their existence due to our climate change.
That was even more rapid, caused by a giant meteor.
Yes.
A little bit different paleontology guy.
It's still climate change,
Yeah,
Dean.
calm down, paleontology, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's all I got.
That's a good one, Karen.
On dinosaur tracks.
Thank you for that.
I thought it was pretty exciting.
It is exciting. It's big news.
I would like to
It's
visit.
weird news.
I would like to visit Dinosaur Park or whatever that place
In
is
Texas?
called. Mhm.
Okay, put it on the list.
If it wasn't in Texas.
Well, we can still go visit Texas.
Mm,
We just won't get an abortion there.
they do not deserve my tourist dollars.
Well,
Sorry.
we can you can just randomly shoot guns in the air there.
You got to change your laws before I'll visit you.
All right. This item, I don't know if I counts as news so much. It was in the news recently, and it is weird, but it's more of a little bit of a brain teaser. I hope you're okay with that. Do a little bit of a different
Sure,
thing here
I'm
for this
okay
one.
with
My
it.
next two are going to be news. Okay, so have you ever heard of something called the birthday paradox?
Never.
Then let me ask you a question: how large does a random group of people have to be for there to be a 50%, an even chance that at least two people in that room have the same birthday?
Oh.
Have you heard this?
Month, day, and year?
Yep, absolutely. Exact same
Same
birthday.
year.
No, I'm sorry, same birth date, I should say. So
Okay.
same month and day, not the same
Okay.
year. Mhm.
How many people do there have to be?
In that room for two of them, for there to be a 50% chance that two of them share that same birthday.
365.
That's a weird guess. Why?
Because that's how many days there are in the year.
You're wrong. But that's a good one because it illustrates how bad humans are at probability because you are way the fuck off.
Well, that's hard.
It is hard. It's not an easy way. I'll tell. And when we solve it, listen carefully because it's pretty complex. Probability is extremely complex. It's an incredibly important part of science and social science and physical sciences, but it's very, very complex.
Okay, it's very complex, but you just ridiculed me and you said
I did not ridicule
and you
you.
said people are terrible at doing this.
People are terrible
like
at
it's something that we should be
good
at doing.
It'd be great if we were better because it really impacts our lives in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Not just these kind of cute ways like the birthday paradox. We don't understand how unlikely things are to happen or how likely things are to happen. But
Mhm.
it affects things like politics and your sense of history and things like that. So most people, it turns out, guess 183 because they think that's about half as many days as
Oh,
there are in the year, roughly. So they
yeah.
think that's kind of the innate kind of natural response. And
But
that's
that doesn't make sense to me. I might even double it.
so 700.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are you going so high? I'm curious. Just what is it that, I mean, I guess you're right. That does seem kind of intuitive, doesn't
Yeah.
it? That it would
Yeah.
have to be a large number. Well, turns out it's not that. So recently, a statistician, he said, quote, "I love these types of problems because they illustrate how humans are generally not good with probabilities, leading them to make incorrect decisions or draw bad conclusions." His name is Jim Frost, and he's written 3 books on stats. He's also a columnist for something called the American Society of Qualities Statistics Digest. Big bestseller. I've seen it in all kinds of airports. I usually get one when I'm flying. American Society of Quality Statistics Digest. That's where they wrote. Maybe there's a typo. I think this might have been. I can't remember. This was, I think, in Life Science. So he said, quote, "Additionally, they show how beneficial mathematics can be at improving our lives. So the counterintuitive results of these problems are fun, but they also serve a purpose. Knowing the birthday paradox thing, I don't know if that's really going to improve our lives, but it's interesting to know. And understanding probability, he's right.
Okay.
Could do that. So now let's start. You assume that all birthdays have an equal chance of happening. That's a critical assumption because if there's, which is in practice, that's not actually true, but let's just assume that for the point of the math, right?
Okay.
Also, he gets rid of leap years, so it's always 365 days.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start with 2 people, you have 2 people in a room. The chance the first person does not share a birthday with the second is 364 over 365.
Correct.
Taking 1 day out of the year, effectively. So that means the likelihood that they share a birthday is 100% minus 364 over 365. That calcs out to a 0.27% chance. So a little more than a 1/4% chance that those 2 people in a room at random are going to share the same birthday.
Mm-hmm.
With me so far?
Yep.
Now it gets complicated. So you add a third person. And so the first 2 people cover 2 of the days in the year, right? That third person, it means the chance that third person does not share a birthday with the first 2 is 363 over 365. In other words, you can only, with the other 2 people, you just take 2 days out of the year. So the likelihood, now here's what you do the math, and you have to understand probability and mathematics of probability to do this math, to know that this is the equation. He said the likelihood that they all share a birthday is 1 minus the product multiplication of 364 over 365, which is almost 1, remember, times 363 over 365. That works out to a probability of 0.82%. So now 3 people, you get a little less still than 1% likelihood that they will be that they'll share a birthday. That any 2 of them will share a birthday. So then, though, what people don't understand is exponential math, and it goes up very rapidly. So to get to that 50, in fact, he just kept doing the math, adding a person, a 4th person, a 5th person, and so on, and he got to 50.7% probability at 23 people. A room of 23 people is a slightly more than 50% chance that 2 of those 23 people will share the same birth date.
Okay.
Now, which is, as we just demonstrated, incredibly low. It's intuitively low.
Yeah.
Now,
I wouldn't know how many people is 100%.
He didn't calculate 100%, but he calculated 99%.
Yeah.
At least not that I read it. He probably did. What do you think the number is for 99% likelihood that 2 people share the same birthday?
What was it for 50? 24?
23.
Oh, 23 people? So for 100, it's obviously not double. I am going to say 32.
57.
Oh, fudge.
Still, a shocking number. I mean, now, if I started with that, well, that'd be crazy low. We started with 50% likelihood.
Yeah.
If you said, what is it where we're almost dead certain?
Okay, wait.
It's 57.
I don't buy that.
Okay.
Because here's the thing.
What?
I'm pretty sure I've known at least 57 people in my life and have learned their birthday.
That is not science. That is anecdote.
I know one person
Opposite of
that
science.
shares my birthday.
Okay.
And I just met them within the last 5 years or so.
Okay. Still 99%. Bingo. You just proved the point here, actually. So yeah, you do share in that, I mean.
No, but what I'm saying is I knew 57 people way before 5 years ago that I knew their birthdays.
Okay. But again,
and I didn't share a birthday. I'm not saying that.
If you randomly
obviously, I'm not saying this is scientific evidence.
You just said
but I'm just saying,
way. I'm calling bullshit on that number because of your personal situation.
99% is pretty sure.
I know.
So if the next time I'm in a room with at least 57 people, I'm just going to ask everybody their birthday.
That'll be fun. One of the reasons that he thinks that people do underestimate how low the number has to be is that they probably unconsciously calculate what the chance of someone sharing their birthday is. Carrie, you just demonstrated.
Oh, you're right.
It's any two people. So it's not you. You illustrated exactly what he thinks is the main reason that people call bullshit on it.
Yeah.
So now think to yourself, the first 57, pick 57 people out of your outlook.
Yeah.
And do any two of them share a birthday? I bet they do.
I walked right into that one, didn't I?
You did, but thank you.
Yeah, they do because I already know 3 people that share the same birthday.
There you go. Boom. And now if you pick a random 23, again, it's only 50%. That's not, but that's why I kind of like the 57 number better because if you can randomly pick 57 acquaintances, all that means is that you're an example at the tail of the distribution. It doesn't mean that you've proven it's wrong, but it is it is interesting. That would be an interesting point if you can name 57 people randomly that don't have any shared birthdays within them. Another reason though is that he thinks that people, against what we pointed out, they significantly underestimate how quickly the probability increases with group size. That's a quote from the Life Science article. So people just don't understand. So here's an interesting one. Humans are terrible when it comes to comprehending exponential growth. Jim Frost said. He compared it to a situation about getting paid a small amount. And he said there's this old riddle. I don't know. That's not the right word. He says, in exchange for some service, suppose you're offered to be paid 1 cent on the first day, 2 cents on day 2, 4 cents on day 3, 8 cents on day 4, and so on, right?
Yeah.
And this is gonna happen for 30 days. You got to do this work, and that's gonna be your pay for 30 days. Most people think, screw that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get shit. How much do you think you're gonna get in those 30 days?
I don't know, but it's a lot.
$10.7 million is your paycheck on day 30.
Yep.
It's crazy how fast. It's like compound interest, and compounding any number really does increase that number very surprisingly rapidly.
Which is what makes student loans such terrible situations for a lot of people.
It makes all loans terrible situations because it works against us. So that is the birthday paradox.
That is interesting.
Not news, but I thought I wanted to share it, and I didn't know where else to share it. I don't know how to shoehorn it into some story. Well, and here's a story about a mysterious murder. And by the way, he had a birthday. That was not going to work. So.
Okay, this isn't like super recent news, but it's fairly recent, June of 2022.
That's plenty recent.
So we can call it summer news.
Okay. You can call it late spring news, whatever you want to do. Rum spring news, doesn't matter.
Well, anyway, this one isn't very happy or upbeat,
Carrie.
But it is interesting, and it involves my favorite animal on the earth.
Oh, I know what that is.
One of my favorite animals, that is elephant.
Oh, I was going to say pangolin, but okay, elephant too.
What's my other favorite animal?
You love blue whales, and you're a huge fan of quokkas. Oh wait, that's me.
Yes.
You are a big fan of lobsters. That's your sister.
I can see on a daily basis if I choose to.
Dogs, cats.
No. Wild animals.
Oh, a wild animal you can see on a daily basis?
Mm-hmm.
Squirrels.
No.
You love squirrels. You have
Nope.
Okay, what is it?
That I get all excited and I go get my camera and go take pictures of them.
Birds.
Hummingbirds.
I did know that.
You know nothing about me.
I did know that, actually. I blocked it out.
I know you know that.
I've had 2 memory lapses this episode so far. This is.
Well, anyway, this is sad news. Apparently an elephant in India in the state of Odisha killed a woman. She was going to collect water in her village and an elephant killed her.
Come on.
And then, well, actually, I'm sorry, he, or I think it was a female elephant, as a matter of fact, injured her very badly. She was taken to a hospital where she then died.
Oh.
Shortly after that, her family was having a funeral, and during the funeral, the elephant came back, took her body off the pyre.
What?
Trampled her dead body.
Okay, she did something to that elephant.
And then
Right?
left.
Do they think
They
that?
don't have any
That seems
evidence
very personal.
that she did something.
Wow.
They
Maybe-
don't
You know
know.
what? Her doppelganger, her evil twin, did something terrible to that elephant.
I don't know. But they do surmise that the elephant might have, by smell or something, recognized her on her funeral pyre as the woman that
An elephant hunter gave her his scarf, and she was killed because of that smell.
I don't know. I think they might have figured that one out. But this elephant had come from a wildlife sanctuary that was about 10 miles from the city of Jamshedpur. I don't
Perfect
know,
pronunciation.
but that's kind of sad.
That is sad.
So after it, trampled her dead body, it,
Mm.
I guess, threw it down and then ran away. They managed to complete her funeral a few hours later. But they say, obviously elephants can be dangerous
Very
and deadly
dangerous.
because they're so dang big.
They are big.
And, you don't want to get one mad.
Mm.
Or they have rogue elephants that you can see video of,
Yeah.
trampling through streets of India or whatever.
Or drunk. They occasionally get drunk and do crazy shit.
Well, it's pretty rare that elephants don't just go on rampages and attack people for no reason. It says it's usually they've been provoked or abused.
Yeah, that's what makes you wonder why
Yeah.
that person's body. Why that person, and then
Yeah,
carry it another step and go back
I
and get her.
know.
I looked it up while you were saying that, and how many people per year, or do you know this, die
Mhm.
from elephant attacks in India each year?
About 300.
Oh, this says 100.
Oh.
So,
Well, maybe
I don't know which is right.
maybe my figure wasn't India. Maybe it was worldwide.
Oh, okay.
It could be.
Yeah, mine was WWF.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. No, wrestlers know all about India.
Mine said 300.
elephant. Huh. So maybe, I don't know. Intriguing.
I don't know. But, Asian elephants are often subjected to torture and stabbing
What?
for tourism industry.
Why?
Yeah.
What? Why?
I don't
would you
know.
do that?
I don't know.
Why would you
Probably
piss off an elephant.
Well,
You mean like to make them do rides or perform or something? Like
I don't
that?
know. Or I don't know, because I don't do Indian elephants have tusks? Are they doing it for that, or is that African?
That's a great question.
I
I don't know the
know.
answer to that question.
I don't know, but elephants are smart.
I should know that.
So
Yeah, they're very smart and have great memories, as we all know.
they do.
So
They have
see,
extraordinary cognitive abilities. And the article also goes on to talk about how human elephant conflict is on the rise because of climate change.
climate change and
And
overpopulation.
we're, encroaching on their habitat. Their habitat is getting closer and closer to where people are living. And climate change is making life harder for elephants with temperature change and losing water and stuff like that. So they sometimes will go what they call crop raiding, and they'll go on farmland, and then there's obviously conflict between the farmers and the elephants. And I think right around the time this woman was killed by an elephant somewhere nearby, a farmer was killed by an elephant because he was guarding his farm. So
Yeah, elephant wanted the crops. I'm gonna let the elephant get the crop. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna put up a fuss about that with an elephant.
Well, I would too. But in 2001, for instance, 60 elephants were found dead being poisoned by farmers
Oh my God.
in India
Okay,
and
guys.
Sumatra. Yep.
It's not
Because they
okay.
were seen as a nuisance, and
Yeah.
they were, whatever. But they say it still isn't clear why the elephant attacked the woman. Her name was Maya Murmu.
Did they do anything to that specific elephant? He said it got away.
The article didn't say anything. Just said he ran away, but it seems like they know.
Yeah.
The elephant that did it.
I think his name was Brenda, the elephant.
No. But anyway, it is one of those, oh my God, an elephant killed a woman and then came back and trampled her body, which
it's one of those stories, one of those classic
Well, but I mean,
stories
it's very, I've heard it all over the place and it's pretty irreverent, but.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty horrific.
There are important and major issues underlying
that
clickbaity story is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So you clicked on it, but then you brought some context to it that made it important.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Your turn.
This is not a clickbaity story. This is a story that if you've never heard of it, you're probably not going to click on this story.
Okay.
But hopefully you out there have heard it because we presented this story in episode 33. Yes, I did look it up, which I really
did. Yeah.
This is
33.
33, long time ago. Tamim Shud, better known, and we should have called the episode that, better known as the Somerton Man. Mm-hmm. This was a person, I'll catch you up a little bit, back in 1948, November 30th to be exact. Some people on the beach in Adelaide, in Australia, in South Australia, noticed a guy sitting along at the edge of the beach on a seawall, kind of lying down, his head propped up on the wall. He's doing some weird motions. The next morning, that person was found very dead. And, it was very mysterious. For one, and it took the mystery kind of unraveled over months, actually, because they didn't know who he was. But then they looked into his body. And they found that his clothes, like all the marks, and then had been taken off his clothes. So they couldn't identify even where his clothes were from or where they had bought. They had, although some clothes had the name T, the initial T, and the last name Keen on them. They had no information or no identification on his person whatsoever. They had no idea who he was. That's why he was called Somerton Man. Somerton was the beach area,
right? And they weren't beach clothes, right? Wasn't it like a suit?
It was like a suit.
Yeah.
And he was kind of weird because he had amazing calves. So people thought he had these incredibly calves and kind of pointy feet. So people thought he was a dancer, like maybe a ballet dancer.
Or were his feet mangled up, messed up?
I don't know if they were mangled, but they were kind of pointy. He was, so I'm going to go back to pointy. He was 5'11". They thought he was something like 40 to 50 years old. So probably an ex-ballet dancer, obviously. And again, his tags appeared to be deliberately removed. He had like some things, cigarettes and matches and things like that. A pack of juicy fruit gum, by the way, delicious, sponsor us. A used bus ticket and then an unused train ticket. And people didn't know how he died. The coroner at the time would only say that it was not natural. Later, they'd have all these theories, and there was a couple of in fact, one coroner or a person who worked, pathologist who worked on it, said, "I think I know what did it, but I'm not going to name it because this is an almost untraceable poison that would later turn out to be digitalis."
Oh, okay.
So that sounds like foul play potentially there, and so it became kind of a cause célèbre. A month after he was found, they found a suitcase that had been left in the train station, and they figured it belonged to him because they found a spool of orange thread in it that fit what was on his clothes perfectly. So he had left this case in there, and that's, by the way, where they found the name T. Keen. So on his actual person, he apparently didn't think they'd ever find that suitcase and tie it to him, but on his actual person, he had no identification whatsoever. It's only because they found the suitcase that this name T. Keen was applied to him, and even then they think it's probably an alias.
So he was mending his own clothing with orange thread.
I know.
That's interesting.
It was not long after World War II. There were still shortages.
I guess so. I was going to say, probably not an orange suit, so okay.
Then in May of 1949, so about a half a year after he died, a pathologist named John Cleland re-examined the corpse, and he discovered that there was a rolled up piece of paper hidden in his pocket, in like a little, like secret little pocket, a really tightly rolled up piece of paper, and on it bore a phrase that said, "Tamam Shud," which is a Persian phrase, and it means it's finished or it's ended. They trace this to the Rubaiyat of the great Arabic poet Omar Khayyam, a 12th century book of poetry. And then, again, weirdly, they would find, I think it was even a month or two later, a local man came forward because way back in November of the year before, he had found a book in the back of his convertible that was parked at the beach that was not his book. It's like someone tossed a book. And it turned out that book was a New Zealand edition of an English translation of the Rubaiyat by Omar Khayyam. And indeed, the book had a piece of paper torn out from it, and it fit perfectly that piece of rolled up paper found in the pocket of the Somerton Man. On that paper, to make it even more mysterious, were these random capital letters that seemed to be a code. It's like 27 letters or something like that in a rows and columns that appeared to be a code, some kind of encryption. So, and they also found a phone number, and they traced that to a local nurse named Jessie Thompson. When they went to speak to Thompson, the authorities, she appeared to be shocked, stunned, almost fainted, but denied having any idea who he was. They had a bust of him made, and they also had pictures of him. And she's like, when she's shown the picture, she almost fainted and then says, don't know him. So they thought she was probably lying about that.
Yeah.
Later, cryptography experts would say that, they don't think, it didn't seem like a code in hindsight. It didn't appear to be a cryptogram of any sort. And a lot of the theories were things like, okay, was he a spy? Was he, there's something mysterious about him. He was a Russian spy. Maybe he was a jilted lover. Was he poisoned? Was it murder? Was he a smuggler? Again, was he a ballet dancer? All kinds of theories about it. Well, recently, a professor named Derek Abbott, he's a physicist and an electronic engineer at the University of Adelaide. He has been on this story for years and years and years. He teamed up with Colleen Fitzpatrick, who's a forensic genealogist. They found some hairs in the bust, the plaster. They made a plaster bust of his face and upper and I think his shoulders. They found some hairs in there from him. So they were finally able to test the DNA of these hairs, and guess what? They think they figured out who the Somerton Man was. He's a quote from Abbott. We're just saying this is what the DNA tells us. It's up to the cops to make the legal determination of who this guy was. But they think this person was a man named Carl Charles Webb. He was an electrical engineer from Melbourne who vanished from the public record in April of 1947, which is a little interesting because it would have been about a year and a half before he was found dead. But that's the last anybody ever saw of him. We'll get back to him in just a second. So what they did was they took the DNA sample and they plugged it into what database? One of your faves. GEDmatch. They plugged it into GEDmatch, the genealogical research database, and they found some distant cousins of this person. And so they started constructing the family tree like you do, and they narrowed it down to about only 4,000 people.
Sure.
But they started looking at biographies, and they found this guy. They found Webb, who fit the right age. He was born in Victoria, the state of Victoria in Australia in 1905. So he's about 43 at the time of his death. That fit. Abbott said that we were able to connect one of them, meaning one of the DNA cousins, to Carl's father, and one of them to Carl's mother. So he was related to these people. He says, quote, you really kind of narrow it down so much, it could be any one of Carl or his siblings, but Carl's the only one whose biography fits.
Right.
He was born at the right time. He has no documented death. He disappeared in April of 1947. He seems to fit the bill pretty accurately. Again, it's not 100%, but it seems pretty damn close. The authorities, by the way, recently exhumed the body of the Somerton Man. So there's going to be more information out here soon, but they're taking their sweet time doing it. I think they did it last year, I believe. Yeah, last May. And they're conducting genetic testing right now on the remains. So they may be able to. So Abbott and Fitzpatrick kind of beat him to the punch.
Yeah.
But if they come to the same conclusion, it'll be pretty rock solid. And by the way, during Abbott's, his researches, he kind of narrowed in on the son of his theory was that, the woman, the nurse, was that the Somerton Man was the parent of an illegitimate child with her. Right. And her son, he thought bore a resemblance to him.
Was this the ear thing?
Yeah.
The ear kind of ears.
Had a funky ear thing.
Yeah.
No relation, no genetic match whatsoever. So that, which seemed really pretty solid.
Yeah.
That's probably the best theory going, is absolutely not true.
Right.
The Carl Webb has nothing to do with that family. There's no genetic match between Carl Webb and the nurse and her family whatsoever.
So they did test somebody
they
from
did.
that family.
From that family, yeah.
That's interesting.
His wife. He met his wife, Abbott, the researcher, met his wife because she's related to that family.
Oh.
As he's researching it, he's like questioning her. It's like, hey, by the way, you do anything after this interview? Let's have some coffee. And so he could test his wife for one. So they looked into this Webb person. He was, again, born in 1905. In October of 1941, he married a woman named Dorothy Jean Robertson. And she was 21 years old, and she was on their marriage certificate, she was a foot specialist. So podiatrist? I'm not sure exactly what that means.
You're not a 21-year-old podiatrist.
I don't know. He was a 35-year-old instrument maker. That was his job. So why he had those phenomenal calves, we don't know. Maybe he was also a great, not professional, but a dancer. I don't know. Or played hoop. I don't know. The last mention of him was indeed April of 1947, as I mentioned a minute ago, when he left his wife, just took off and left, and she never saw him again. In October of 1951, 3 years after he was found in November, what we think was him found, Dorothy, the ex-wife, I guess, she placed a notice in The Age, as a newspaper in Melbourne, and she began divorce proceedings because she said he had deserted her back in 1947. She had moved, by the way, to Adelaide before that. So they're surmising that's why he was in Adelaide. He was from Melbourne. He went to Adelaide by train, apparently. And that's why, so we don't know for sure. I'm now speculating, but looked her up, tried to find her, either didn't find her or was, or maybe if he did find her and she spurned him, why did she wait 3 more years to start divorce proceedings? I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
Or they had a fight. But if they had a fight, she lied about it because she said she hadn't seen him since April of 1947. I don't know.
Yeah. Well.
Or maybe he didn't find her and committed suicide with poison, or maybe he, got cold feet. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Identifying him isn't likely to solve the mystery of his death, is it?
No, it's not. But turns out his brother-in-law was named Thomas Keene. Boom, T. Keene.
Oh.
Some of those clothes must have been from his brother-in-law. And another mystery was that the clothes were American, by the way. They're American-made clothes, but that's solved because there were American GIs in Australia at the time. So his brother-in-law may have bought them like secondhand, or some kind of secondhand store, American clothes.
Yeah.
So Abbott has not found a picture of Carl Webb, but they did find a picture of Webb's brother, Roy, who was a soldier for Australia and died in Malaya as a prisoner of war. And they've said that, so Webb's brother's picture looks a ton like the Somerton Man pictures, they say.
Oh.
So it's looking pretty good that this is him. So there's still questions, though, like, again, why was he there at Somerton? Yeah. Why was he in Adelaide? What actually did cause his death? Was it poison? Was it suicide, or was it murder?
Yeah.
So we don't know. And was he connected with Thompson? Because there again, these stories are that she was shocked and stunned, or was that, who knows? Maybe that was embellishment at the time.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, you see a picture of a dead person, a dead man's face. It's a little weird. That's the story of the Somerton, the likely identification of the Somerton Man.
Sounds pretty promising.
Sure.
I'll believe it. Well, thanks, Dean. That was a really good update to a really good mystery from back in the early days of the Weird World podcast.
That's one of my faves.
That's one of everybody's faves.
Amazing story.
Yeah.
It is. It's layers of mystery, and especially the way that it played out over months, and it got more and more mysterious every new discovery. I love that story. They need to make a movie about it.
I can't believe there hasn't. Well, I don't know.
If he did it right. Now, knowing that Carl Webb was this nondescript electrician, whatever he was, who just left his wife, and then there still is this mystery of, again, what he was doing there.
Yeah.
Was he murdered? Did he commit suicide? My guess is he committed suicide.
I mean, you could take some, license and make some assumptions and make some things up to.
You could, if it was made in India, there'd be a lot of dancing and songs. Right in the middle of very dramatic scenes.
And maybe an angry elephant.
Carrie, too soon.
Well,
okay.
That's the weird news for today.
Weird news 2. We'll just do that. We'll just do weird news and a number, because people like these. If you have any ideas for some weird news stories, let us know.
Send them
We'd
our
love
way.
to hear them.
weirdworldpodcast@gmail.com.
Okay. We'll keep doing these when more weird stuff happens, which it always does, which is good.
Pretty much,
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
And the internet makes it so easy.
It does indeed.
Well, thanks for listening.
All right.
What? I
Really-
literally can't say anything.
Really weird voice. I loved it though. Thanks for listening. All right. See you guys.
Bye.